Hey guys, I'm trying a different POV view. Hopefully it's a lot better. You can actually see the gauges on the car. Today I want to talk about kind of what a driver's car is to me, because there seems to be different interpretations or different ideas of what a driver's car is. Some people might think that a driver's car can only be a sports car, and to me I think that's just simply not true. I think there are a lot of cars that might not be a sports car, might not even be, like, at least from the looks or marketing or anything like that, might not be a driver's car, but they might actually be a driver's car. So cars I think about when I think about driver's cars, I think about how they interact with the road. You know, how you, the driver, interact with the car. How does the steering feel? How's the chassis feel? Handling, etc. Transmission, all of that. And I think there are cars like my 4Runner, my first car, which was a 2005 4Runner. On paper, and you know, when you hear about it, you're like, that must be a boring car. It must be just a very typical SUV, V8 4Runner. And you know, that's not a driver's car. That's not a truly exciting and fun car. And I think that's kind of the key takeaway for me, is like, a driver's car is a car that you have fun in. It's a car that you interact and engage with in a way that other cars don't, and you have fun with it. That's really the key thing. It doesn't have to be a sports car. It doesn't have to have sporting intentions even to be fun, to be exciting, to be visceral, to be engaging. It doesn't have to handle well, in my opinion, to be a good driver's car. It can just kind of be somewhat interactive and engaging, and that's good enough for me to be fun and enjoyable. But I think part of the reason is that I just enjoy driving in general. Some people just don't enjoy driving, and I can understand from that perspective why you wouldn't enjoy driving. If you do a daily commute, you know, to and from work, you're always in traffic. You never really get to drive on back roads like this. You never get to drive on twisty roads or fun roads. So from that perspective, driving can be a chore and be just not fun, not engaging, not enjoyable. But I think kind of the point that I want to make is that you can have cars that are engaging and enjoyable, and it makes the joy of driving there. You know, it makes driving more enjoyable simply because the car is more enjoyable to drive, even in like traffic. You get more engagement, you get more enjoyment out of it. And that's one of the things I really like about the Z4, is it's engaging, it's enjoyable to drive at any speed pretty much. It's got decent steering feel, good shifter. May not necessarily be, you know, the best shifter ever made, but it is certainly a good enough shifter and enjoyable enough to use. Yeah, we still got 52 miles, so we're good. But, you know, that's part of the experience too, is that with like the Z4, just interacting with it and engaging with the car is what makes it enjoyable. And that kind of leads me into the importance of drivers' cars, like this car, like some of the other cars that may be overlooked because they're not as practical, you know, may be overlooked for the average buyer, but for enthusiasts, you know, oh, it's the best thing ever. Enthusiast cars, you know, drivers' cars, they're important because they offer something more than just a transportation device. And that's kind of what I've been trying to explain with the Z4 is it's more than just a transportation device. It's something that when you engage and interact with, you know, it's something that feels more alive. You have more fun with it. When you push it through a corner, it grips. The emotion behind the engine too. When you downshift gears. That's, I think, part of the mark of a truly good driver's car. And you can have electric cars. I think there is the possibility of electric cars being driver's cars. But I think the big issue is right now in like modern cars is that you're not getting the level of feel and feedback from the road. You're not getting that level of feel through the steering. You're not getting that level of feel through the chassis. And so in a lot of cases with these newer cars, yeah, they might be sports cars or they might be performance cars, but they may not necessarily be the driver's car in the traditional sense, in the way that I'm thinking of it at least. They kind of lose some of that engagement and that enjoyment. And I think that's, you know, like I said, that's what's missing, maybe missing in a lot of these modern cars. And it's not necessarily that like manufacturers can't make good driver's cars. They can. You know, people talk about modern Porsches all the time. They seem to still be pretty good driver's cars. But I think even on probably those Porsches, they're lacking in steering feel and engagement compared to the older cars. A lot of that has to do with moving from the older hydraulic power steering systems to the electric power steering systems. And this Z4 is proof that there can be a good electric power steering system. It doesn't weight up in a corner, but it still has a good amount of feel and feedback. So this isn't like, you know, the ultimate steering feel vehicle. I mean, I don't know if BMW has really made a car with the best steering feel of any car ever. You know, that would probably go to older Porsches and Lotuses and that kind of thing. Just wondering where he was going. But like I said, to me, a driver's car is one that you enjoy, one that engages and interacts with you. You can feel what is going on, you can hear what is going on, and that you're excited to drive it. You know, it's one thing to have a car that on paper is fantastic, but it's another thing to have a car of it is fantastic to drive and great to drive. So this was kind of just a short little video, me talking about drivers' cars, what I think about them. And I do think that 4Runner, that first car that I had, is part of the reason that I got into enjoying driving. You know, yes, it's a nearly 5,000 pound vehicle and it had a iron block V8 that didn't rev super high, but it was still very enjoyable. It had hydraulic steering. Steering feel was good for what it was. That V8 is great. Good torque, good power. It sounded good. Pulled hard all the way to redline. And I think that's what matters. It's how you feel driving a car and how it interacts with you. Maserati out for a drive. Maserati Gran Turismo. That 4.2 liter naturally aspirated V8. Would have been cool if they came in a manual. They might have. I think though they were only offered in a automatic or like a single clutch transmission. I don't think there was any manual option. I feel like that's a missed opportunity for Maserati. About to go in my bumpy section. But that's pretty much all my thoughts. Driver's car, key takeaway. Driver's car is a car that you enjoy driving. It's a car that interacts and engages with you. It doesn't necessarily have to be a sports car. It doesn't have to have the most grip or the most performance to be a driver's car. Just has to be engaging and enjoyable to drive. I want to thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye now.